Ravi liked walking outside the colony when the sun was low. The big red sky of the planet always looked brighter during evening time, and the cool wind made him feel calm after a long day of work. Most people in the colony preferred to stay inside the metal houses, but Ravi often wandered near the forest line. He liked the smell of the trees and the sound of insects that lived there. That evening, the air felt different. Ravi felt as if someone was watching him. He turned his head, but the forest looked still and quiet. The shadows of tall trees moved gently with the wind, and nothing seemed out of place. Still, the strange feeling stayed in his chest. He kept walking along the narrow path, pretending not to notice. His steps slowed when he heard a light laugh behind him. He spun quickly, but no one was there. Only the tall grass moved a little as if something had passed through it. Ravi frowned, his heart beating faster. "Who is there?" he called out. His voice echoed in the open air, but no answer came. He turned back toward the colony, but before he could take another step, he saw movement on his left side. A figure stood at the edge of the trees, half hidden in shadow. Ravi froze. At first, he thought it was another colonist, but then he noticed the figure's shape was not quite human. The figure stepped forward into the fading sunlight. Ravi's eyes widened. It was a girl, but not like any girl he had seen before. Her ears were pointed and covered in soft fur, standing on top of her head like those of a cat. A long tail swayed slowly behind her. Her eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the red sky, sharp yet playful. Ravi opened his mouth but no words came out. The girl tilted her head, as if studying him. Then she gave a small grin. She moved with light steps, almost like she was gliding on air. Her movements reminded him of the forest cats he sometimes saw near the river, graceful and careful. Ravi's first thought was to run back to the colony and report what he saw. But his legs did not move. His curiosity held him in place. The girl stopped a few meters away, her tail flicking behind her. She covered her mouth with her hand and gave a soft laugh, as if she found his reaction amusing. "Who are you?" Ravi asked again, his voice more steady this time. The girl only smiled. Then, with sudden speed, she jumped onto a fallen log and sat there as if she owned the whole forest. She leaned forward and copied his voice in a playful tone, "Who are you?" Ravi blinked in surprise. She was teasing him. He crossed his arms, trying to hide his nervousness. "You can speak. Then answer me." The girl shook her head slowly, still grinning. She pointed at him as if she had caught something funny about him. Then she dropped down from the log and circled him, her eyes sharp and curious. Ravi turned to follow her movement, but she was too quick. One moment she was behind him, the next moment she was in front again. She was enjoying his confusion. "You are from the colony," she finally said, her voice soft but clear. "I watched you before." Ravi's chest tightened. "You were watching me? Why?" Instead of answering, she bent down and picked a small stone. She tossed it up and caught it, as if playing a game. Then she looked at him with her glowing eyes. "You are different. You walk near the forest when others stay inside. You look at the sky too long. You listen to sounds of trees. That is why I watched." Ravi did not know how to respond. His heart raced between fear and wonder. He wanted to ask many questions, but the girl's presence made him forget the right words. She threw the stone toward his feet, making him step back. Then she laughed again. It was not cruel, only playful, as if she wanted to see his reaction. Ravi frowned. "You are playing games with me." The girl tilted her head once more, pretending to think. Then she whispered, "Maybe." The sun was almost gone, and shadows stretched longer around them. Ravi realized he should return before it became too dark. But his mind could not leave this strange meeting. Before he could speak again, the girl moved closer. Her glowing eyes met his, and for the first time her grin softened. She looked serious, as if deciding something important. "My name is Nira," she said quietly. Ravi repeated the name in his mind. Nira. It sounded simple, yet it carried a strange feeling, like a secret only he was allowed to know. She stepped back, her tail swaying. "Do not forget," she said. Then, as quickly as she appeared, she leaped into the trees and vanished into the shadows. Ravi stood alone, his heart still racing. The forest was quiet again, but the memory of glowing eyes and a teasing grin stayed with him. He whispered the name once more, Nira, and walked back toward the colony, knowing his life had just changed in a way he could not yet understand. The next morning, Ravi could not stop thinking about the girl from the forest. Her glowing eyes, her teasing laugh, and the way she disappeared into the shadows kept playing in his mind. He had repeated her name many times before falling asleep. Nira. He told himself it might have been a dream, but deep inside he knew it was real. No dream could feel that sharp, that alive. When Ravi went to work near the water pumps outside the colony, he felt the same strange sense of being watched. He turned around quickly, but no one was there. He shook his head and bent down to fix a loose pipe. Then, out of nowhere, something touched the back of his neck. Ravi jumped up, spinning fast. A small stick fell on the ground behind him. From the top of the water tank, Nira was sitting cross-legged, grinning down at him. Her tail swung behind her like a flag. "You scare easy," she said, her voice full of amusement. Ravi frowned. "Why are you here again?" Nira tilted her head, pretending to think. "Because it is fun." She leapt down from the tank without effort, landing softly on the dirt. She circled him the same way she had before, her eyes scanning every small detail. She picked up his tool bag and shook it. "Too heavy for you?" she asked, teasing. Ravi grabbed the bag from her hands, annoyed. "Stop that. These are not toys." Nira only laughed. Then she crouched and picked up one of his wrenches, holding it like a strange object she had never seen. She copied his movement from yesterday, imitating his voice in a playful tone. "Who are you, who are you?" Ravi sighed. "You are just making fun of me." "Maybe," she answered, still smiling. As the day passed, Nira followed him everywhere. When Ravi bent down to fix the pipes, she tossed small pebbles near him, trying to make him look up. When he carried boxes of supplies, she walked beside him, pretending to stumble and bump into him just to see his reaction. When he sat for a short rest, she sat right in front of him, staring without blinking until he became uncomfortable. At first, Ravi felt annoyed. He wanted to finish his work, and her constant teasing slowed him down. But the more time he spent with her, the more he noticed that she was not only teasing. She was watching carefully, almost studying him. Every word he said, every action he took, she paid attention as if trying to learn something new. During midday, when Ravi returned to the colony square, some colonists noticed him speaking and looking around. But they could not see Nira. She moved so lightly and quickly that she stayed hidden from their eyes. To them, Ravi looked like he was talking to himself. "Ravi, are you all right?" an older worker asked him. "You look distracted these days." Ravi forced a smile. "I am fine. Just tired." Nira, hidden on the roof of a nearby building, whispered softly so only Ravi could hear. "They do not see me. Only you." Ravi's face tightened. He wanted to ask why that was, but he knew it was not safe to talk about her in front of the others. Later that evening, when the sky began to turn red again, Ravi walked near the forest. He hoped Nira would leave him alone for a while so he could think. But she appeared from behind a tree, her tail swaying slowly. "You look worried," she said, stepping closer. "I should be," Ravi answered. "You keep showing up, but you never explain why. My people already think I am strange. If they find out about you, I do not know what they will do. Nira's playful smile faded for the first time. She looked toward the forest as if listening to something far away. Then she turned back to him. Do not come into the forest at night, she said in a serious tone. Ravi blinked. Why not? Nira shook her head. It is not safe. That is all you need to know. Her eyes glowed faintly under the dim light. The way she said those words made Ravi uneasy. You are hiding something, he said. Nira gave a small grin again, but this time it looked weaker, forced. Maybe. But listen to me. Do not go there. Before Ravi could ask more questions, she stepped back into the shadows. Within seconds, she was gone again, leaving only the sound of rustling leaves. Ravi stood there, torn between curiosity and caution. He wanted answers, but he also remembered the strange warning in her voice. He whispered her name softly to himself. Nira. The sound of it made him feel both frustrated and strangely comforted. She teased him all day, but in that one serious moment, he felt something different, something that told him she was not only here to play games. As the red sky darkened into night, Ravi walked back to the colony, his mind heavy with questions he could not yet solve. Ravi could not forget Nira's warning. Do not come into the forest at night. The words echoed in his mind again and again. She had teased him before, but this time her voice had been serious. That alone made him curious. Why would she care so much if he walked into the trees after dark? For 2 nights he stayed in the colony, but his thoughts grew heavier. He kept looking toward the forest line whenever the sun went down, wondering what was out there. On the 3rd evening, his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He decided he had to see for himself. When the sky turned red, Ravi waited until most colonists had gone inside their metal houses. He carried a small lantern and stepped quietly toward the forest. The air inside was cooler and filled with a mix of scents: wet soil, green leaves, and something strange he could not name. The deeper he went, the darker it became. The trees stood tall, their branches twisting high above his head. The sounds of insects filled the silence. For a while, everything seemed normal. But then Ravi noticed something unusual. Faint lights glowed between the roots of the trees. He crouched down and touched the ground. The glow came from small cracks in the soil. He followed them, moving carefully through the forest. The glowing cracks grew brighter the farther he walked. They looked almost like lines leading him somewhere. After some time, he reached a slope that led underground. At the bottom, he saw something that made him forget to breathe. A wide chamber spread out below the surface, filled with glowing structures. Walls of stone shone with green and blue light. Strange markings covered the ground, forming patterns that seemed alive. Ravi stepped inside, his eyes wide. He had never seen anything like this. It looked like an entire hidden city under the forest. Why are you here? The voice made him jump. He turned and saw Nira standing at the entrance. Her ears were flat, and her tail was stiff. She looked angry, but her eyes showed worry more than rage. I had to know, Ravi said. You told me not to come, but you gave no reason. I could not just stay away without answers. Nira stepped closer, her movements sharp. You should have listened. It is dangerous for you here. Ravi pointed at the glowing structures. What is this place? Who built it? Nira's eyes softened for a moment, then she looked away. My people. The Faerun. We lived here long before your colony came. This is our home. Ravi's heart pounded. So you are not alone. There are more of you. Nira nodded slowly. Many more. But not all are like me. Some do not like your kind. They see humans as invaders who take land and water without asking. If they find you here, they will not let you leave. Her words sent a chill through Ravi. Then why do you talk to me? Why not stay hidden like the rest? Nero looked at him for a long time before answering. Because you are different. You do not walk like the others. You look at the sky, you listen to the forest. I wanted to understand why. That is why I teased you. That is why I watched. Ravi felt a mix of confusion and strange warmth. She had mocked him, but now her reason seemed deeper. Before he could speak again, a low sound echoed through the chamber. It was like a growl mixed with a hiss. Neera's ears twitched, and her tail bristled. They are coming, she whispered. From the far side of the chamber, shadows moved. Figures stepped out, taller than Neera, with sharper ears and longer tails. Their eyes glowed brighter than hers, filled with suspicion. One of them pointed at Ravi and spoke in a language he could not understand. The tone was hard, filled with anger. Neera moved quickly in front of Ravi, blocking him from their view. She answered in the same language, her voice fast and sharp. The other Faerun hissed back, their tails lashing. Ravi's heart raced. He could not understand the words, but he understood the feeling. They did not want him there. Neera turned her head slightly and whispered to him. Go. Now. Run back to your colony. I will keep them here. Ravi shook his head. They will hurt you. Her eyes locked with his. For the first time since they met, there was no teasing smile, only determination. I can handle them. You cannot. Please, go. The Faerun stepped closer, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Ravi knew he had no choice. He gave Neera one last look, then turned and ran up the slope, his lantern swinging wildly in his hand. Behind him, he heard voices rising, echoing through the underground chamber. Neera's voice cut through them, firm and brave. When Ravi reached the edge of the forest, he stopped, gasping for breath. He looked back at the dark trees. The colony lights shone far away, safe and familiar, but his thoughts stayed with the girl who had protected him in a world he never knew existed. He whispered her name once more. Neera. The forest gave no answer, only the sound of night insects. But Ravi knew his life was now tied to something far greater than he had ever imagined. The night after his escape from the glowing chamber, Ravi could barely sleep. The images of the Faerun warriors with sharp eyes and long tails haunted his mind. Their anger was clear even though he had not understood their words. And Neera, she had stood between him and her own people, risking herself for him. When the sun rose, Ravi walked through the colony with heavy steps. He wanted to tell someone about what he had seen, but he knew the colonists would not believe him. They might even panic. For now, he decided to keep the truth hidden. By afternoon, as he carried water containers to the supply shed, he heard a familiar laugh. Neera was sitting on the roof, her tail swinging playfully. You did not listen to me, she said. Ravi set the containers down. I had to know. I had to see with my own eyes. But because of that, you got in danger. Neera jumped down and landed softly on the ground. She looked at him closely, her teasing grin fading. They are angry. They think humans will spread deeper into the forest. Some want to chase your people away before that happens. Ravi frowned. Chase us away? The colony is small. We are only trying to survive. To them, it does not matter, Neera said. They fear what will come next. More humans, more buildings, more machines. They think the forest will die if you stay. Ravi fell silent. He had heard colonists talk about expanding fields for crops and building stronger walls. Maybe the Faerun were not wrong to worry. Still, he clenched his fists. Then we should talk. If they understood us better, maybe we could share this land. Neera shook her head. It is not so simple. Words cannot change fear. The warriors believe only in strength. For a while, They stood in silence. Ravi could see the conflict in her eyes. She was caught between two worlds, her own people and the strange human who had somehow captured her attention. That night, the colony grew restless. The outer lights flickered and went dark without reason. Food containers were knocked over in the storage room. Some colonists claimed they heard footsteps moving quickly in the shadows. Ravi knew in his heart this was not the work of animals. The Faerun were sending warnings. The leader of the colony, a man named Arjun, gathered people in the square. "We are not safe," he said. "Someone or something is testing us. We must prepare to defend ourselves." Fear spread through the settlers. They spoke of building stronger fences, of keeping weapons close. Ravi stood among them, silent, his thoughts heavy with Neera's warning. Later, when the square was empty, Ravi walked toward the dark edge of the forest. A sound made him stop. From the shadows, Neera stepped out, scratches across her arm and dirt on her clothes. Her usual playful energy was gone. "You fought them," Ravi whispered. Neera did not answer right away. She looked tired, her tail drooping. Finally, she said, "I tried to stop them from coming closer. They wanted to test your colony, to see how you react. I pushed them back, but I cannot do this forever." Ravi felt a sharp ache in his chest. "Why do you do this for us? For me? You could have stayed hidden with your people." Neera's glowing eyes softened. "Because I chose to. Because I see something in you that I do not see in the others. You do not fear the forest. You respect it. And maybe, just maybe, you could teach your people to do the same." Ravi took a step closer. "Then tell me what to do. I cannot watch my colony fall into fear. And I cannot watch you fight alone." For a moment, Neera almost smiled, but it was a tired smile. "Stay alive, Ravi. That is the first step. As for the rest, we will see." She looked toward the forest, ears twitching as if hearing sounds he could not. Then she stepped back into the shadows. "Be careful. The real storm has not begun." Ravi stood there long after she disappeared. His heart was torn. He wanted to trust her, but he also knew her people were planning something dangerous. The next day, tension in the colony grew worse. The broken lights were replaced, but everyone kept weapons close at hand. Rumors spread that something in the forest was watching them. Ravi worked quietly, carrying supplies and fixing tools, but his thoughts never left Neera. He remembered the scratches on her arm and the tired look in her eyes. She was fighting a battle he could barely understand, a battle between loyalty to her people and her strange bond with him. That night, Ravi sat outside his small house and looked at the sky. The stars shone brightly, but instead of calm, he felt the weight of coming danger. He whispered to himself, "Neera, how long can you protect us?" The forest gave no answer, but the feeling in his chest told him that she was near, listening from the shadows, carrying a burden she could not share. The colony was no longer the same. People spoke in low voices, carrying worry in their eyes. Every sound outside the fences made them jump. Some blamed wild animals, while others whispered about unknown enemies in the forest. Ravi knew the truth, but he kept silent. If he told the others about Neera and her people, panic would spread like fire. Still, the secret weighed heavily on him. One morning, as he repaired the broken lights at the colony's edge, he felt that familiar gaze again. He turned quickly, and Neera was there, perched on the top of a wooden pole like a watchful cat. Still fixing lights, she teased, her voice light, though her eyes carried a tired shadow. Ravi gave her a hard look. "You could help instead of mocking me." Neera tilted her head, then leapt down gracefully. She walked around him in slow circles, just as she often did, her tail flicking behind her. "I already help. You just do not see it." Ravi paused, lowering his tool. "You mean when you fight your own people?" Nira's smile faded, replaced by silence. She looked away, toward the forest. I hear them at night, Ravi continued softly. I know they are close. And you keep coming back with scratches and bruises. Why risk yourself for us? For me. Nira finally met his eyes. Because I do not want war. But they are pushing harder now. They tell me to leave you, to forget about you. They say I am weak because I care. Her voice trembled at the end, but she quickly forced a grin again. Of course, I told them they are wrong. I teased them the same way I tease you. Ravi could not help but smile faintly. Even when surrounded by danger, she found a way to joke. But behind her words, he sensed the truth. She was standing alone against her people. That evening, the colonists gathered in the square. The leader, Arjun, raised his voice. Something out there is playing with us. Our food is missing, our lights fail, our children are scared. We cannot ignore it anymore. Someone must be helping them from inside. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Several eyes turned toward Ravi. He froze under their gaze. He spends too much time outside, one man said. Always near the forest. Always distracted. Yes, another added. Maybe he knows more than he tells us. Ravi's chest tightened. He wanted to defend himself, but he could not reveal Nira. If he spoke her name, the colonists would fear her, maybe even hunt her. I am not a traitor, he said firmly. I only work like the rest of you. If you think I am hiding something, then follow me. Watch me. You will see I am telling the truth. Arjun raised a hand, calming the crowd. We cannot turn against our own. But we must be careful. Ravi, stay inside at night. No wandering near the forest. Ravi nodded, though his heart burned with frustration. He could not stay away from Nira, not when she risked everything for him. Later that night, when the colony was quiet, he slipped outside. He walked toward the forest, where the shadows seemed deeper than before. A soft sound came from above. Nira dropped from a branch, landing lightly in front of him. Her usual grin was gone. Her glowing eyes looked sad. They do not trust you, she said softly. Ravi sighed. They think I am hiding something. Maybe they are not wrong. I am hiding you. Nira's ears lowered slightly, and her tail hung limp. Then tell them. Let them hate me, not you. No, Ravi said quickly. If they knew, they would not stop at hate. They would hunt you, and your people would answer with war. We cannot let that happen. For the first time since he met her, Nira's teasing mask broke completely. She looked down, her hands trembling slightly. Do you know what it is like to stand between two worlds? To be told you do not belong to either one? My people say I am a fool for caring about humans. Your people would call me a threat if they saw me. Where do I stand, Ravi? Where do I belong? Ravi stepped closer, lowering his voice. With me. That is where you belong. I do not care if others understand it or not. Nira looked up at him, her eyes wide, filled with a mix of surprise and emotion. She opened her mouth to speak, but then shook her head and turned away. You say that now, she whispered. But when the fire comes, will you still choose me? Before Ravi could answer, she melted back into the shadows of the forest. He stood alone, staring after her, his heart heavy. The colony no longer trusted him, and Nira no longer trusted herself. The storm she spoke of was growing closer, and he did not know how long he could hold on before it broke over them all. The clash came without warning. One evening, when the colony lights flickered weakly, shadows moved at the forest's edge. Then the fences shook as unseen figures darted past. Shouts filled the air. Colonists rushed out, carrying sticks and old hunting rifles. Ravi ran to help, but the attack was strange. No one was hurt, yet supplies vanished, lights broke again, and water tanks leaked as if cut with sharp claws. The Farron had struck harder than before. Fear spread quickly. Children cried, and adults shouted for stronger defenses. Arjun, the colony leader, raised his voice. We can no longer wait. If the forest people want war, we must be ready. Ravi's heart sank. War was exactly what Neera had tried to prevent. When the noise calmed and most colonists returned to their homes, Ravi slipped away. He could not rest. His chest felt heavy, knowing Neera was somewhere in the dark forest, maybe hurt, maybe fighting her own people again. He carried only a small lantern and walked past the broken fences into the trees. The night was quiet except for the distant sound of insects. He called softly, Neera. At first, there was no reply. Then, by the riverbank under the pale moonlight, he saw her. Neera sat on a stone, her shoulders hunched, her tail drooping low. Her arms were scratched, and her clothes torn. When she looked up at him, her glowing eyes were dim, not sharp like before. Ravi, she whispered. He hurried to her side. You are hurt. What happened? She tried to smile but failed. I stopped them as long as I could. They are angry now. They say humans must leave or be destroyed. I fought my own kin tonight. Her voice broke at the last word. Ravi knelt in front of her. Why do this alone? Why carry it all on yourself? Neera shook her head, tears welling in her glowing eyes. Because I thought I could handle it. I thought if I laughed and teased, it would hide how heavy my heart feels. But I am tired, Ravi. So tired. Her words cut deep into him. She had always been playful, always teasing him as if nothing could touch her. To see her broken like this tore something inside his chest. Neera's voice grew softer, trembling. I did not want you to see me like this. I wanted to stay strong, to keep you safe. But tonight I could not stop them all. I felt weak, useless. I am supposed to belong to my people, but they see me as a traitor. I am supposed to stay away from you, but I cannot. I do not know where I belong anymore. The tears she had been holding back finally fell. She lowered her head, and her shoulders shook. Ravi reached out and pulled her close. She did not resist. She cried softly against his chest, her body trembling in his arms. Do not say you are weak, Ravi whispered. You are stronger than anyone I know. You stood against your own people to protect us. You stood against fear itself. That is not weakness, Neera. Her hands clutched at his shirt, as if afraid he might let go. Why do you care so much? She asked between quiet sobs. Because you are not alone, Ravi said firmly. I will not let you carry this by yourself anymore. Whatever comes, we will face it together. For a long time, they stayed like that under the moonlight. Her tears slowly faded, but she did not move from his arms. The forest around them was silent, as if listening. Finally, Neera pulled back slightly, her eyes still wet but calmer. You promise? Even if your people turn against you? Even if mine turn against me? Ravi held her gaze. I promise. Neera blinked, her glowing eyes reflecting the light of the lantern. Then, for the first time since he had known her, she gave a small, fragile smile without teasing. It was the smile of someone who wanted to believe. The night was deep, and the danger had not gone away. Yet, for that moment, both of them found comfort in each other. Ravi tightened his hold gently, as if to shield her from the world. You are not alone, Neera. Not anymore. She leaned against him once more, closing her eyes. For the first time, she allowed herself to rest, safe in his arms, as the midnight air carried away her quiet tears. The next morning, Ravi and Neera returned to the colony together. Some colonists were shocked to see her walking beside him, her scratches still visible but her head held high. Murmurs spread quickly. Some feared her, some felt betrayed, and some simply stared in silence. Arjun stepped forward, his arms crossed. Ravi, why bring her here after what happened last night? Supplies stolen, fences broken, water lost. And you come back with the one who led them to us. Neera straightened her back, though her tail flicked nervously. I did not lead them. I stopped many of them. Without me, the colony would have burned. But they will strike again, stronger next time. The crowd grew restless. A few colonists shouted, she is one of them. She will betray us. Others whispered, maybe she speaks the truth. Ravi raised his voice. Enough. We cannot survive by fighting both fear and the forest forever. We must find peace. Arjun frowned. Peace with those who want us gone. Ravi looked at Neera, then back at his people. Yes. Because one of them already chose peace. She chose us. That means others can too. There was silence. Neera's ears lowered slightly, unsure if his words would help or hurt. Then a young boy stepped forward, holding out a broken toy. She fixed this for me before. She is not bad. His words carried more weight than any long speech. The crowd quieted. Not all hearts softened, but doubt began to loosen fear's grip. That night, Ravi and Neera returned to the riverbank. Neera said softly, if your leader does not agree, war will come. If my people do not agree, war will come. We have little time. Ravi nodded. Then we must speak to both sides, not hide anymore. So the next day, with courage burning in his chest, Ravi followed Neera deep into the forest. They traveled until the trees grew taller, their roots curling like walls. In a hidden clearing, dozens of Faerun stood waiting. Their sharp eyes glowed like fireflies in the shade. The Faerun elder, tall and fierce with silver fur streaking her face, stepped forward. Her voice was cold. You bring a human here, Neera. After you fought your kin for him. Why? Neera bowed her head but did not look away. Because this human is not like the others. He listens. He respects. He stands beside me when I am weak. If one can do this, more can. We do not need endless war. The elder's eyes narrowed. You have chosen your heart over your people. Neera's tail twitched, but she held firm. I have chosen a future where we are not slaves to old hatred. The Faerun hissed among themselves, angry and doubtful. But Ravi stepped forward, his voice steady though his hands trembled. We came to build, not to destroy. We need this land, yes, but we also need you. You know the forest, its secrets, its dangers. Together we can survive. Apart we will only bleed until nothing remains. The elder studied him for a long time. Then she turned to Neera. And if he betrays you, as humans always have? Neera looked at Ravi, then back. Her answer was simple. Then I will bear that pain. But I will not stop believing in peace. The clearing fell silent. The elder finally raised her hand, silencing the whispers. Very well. I will not order war tonight. But peace will only come if both sides stand before each other and speak. If the humans are brave enough, let them meet us here under the next full moon. It was not victory, but it was hope. When Ravi and Neera returned to the colony with the news, many still doubted. Some feared a trap. Arjun was cautious but finally agreed. If this is the only chance, then we must try. But if it fails, blood will follow. The days passed quickly. When the full moon rose, both humans and Faerun gathered at the river clearing. Tension was thick in the air. Then, under the moonlight, Ravi and Neera stepped into the center, side by side. He spoke for his people, she for hers. They shared their vision, two groups once divided, now stronger together. There was fear, anger, and doubt. But also listening. Slowly, voices softened. Slowly, the idea of peace did not seem impossible. By the night's end, no treaty was signed, no war ended forever. But both sides walked away alive, willing to try again. And that, more than anything, was a beginning. Later, when the crowd was gone and only the moon watched, Neeraj turned to Ravi. I never thought I would see this day. Ravi smiled faintly. You made it happen. Not me. She leaned closer, her eyes glowing softly. Not alone. Never alone again. And for the first time, neither forest nor colony felt like enemies. For the first time, the midnight air carried not tears, but quiet hope.